If you've never picked up a pizza in the alley, John Carruthers might just change your mind. Here to talk to us about Crust Fund Pizza. Hi, John.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So talk to us about what is Crust Fund Pizza?
Crust Fund Pizza is a project I started in summer 2020 to get people to donate directly to the nonprofits that were like making a real difference in Chicago for me. The local food pantries, women's shelters, voting rights organizations, kind of any place that's based in Chicago and does like direct good work for people in the neighborhoods.
Are you literally in the alley?
I'm literally in the alley.
Explain that.
And so this started, we were in 2020 and it was very like, just drive up, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to give a bunch of strangers my address. We'll make it in the alley. And like, that was a necessity, but now it's become kind of like a big part of the story. And some people think they are going to just show up at the back door of like a restaurant or something. So people will come up and be like, oh, it's really in the alley. And so I have to put, yes, it's really in the alley in my pickup emails.
How many pizzas have you sold in the alley?
I've lost count. I mean, it's just...
At last count, what number were you at? If you had
we're in the thousands here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so why pizzas?
We all got a little weird when we had to stay home for a while, right? Like, this was my manifestation. Like, I was already a cook, but like, for some reason, pizza was the rabbit hole I fell into. And I haven't stopped. Me and my kids still make pizza, still eat pizza every single Friday, on top of the alley pizzas.
That's a thing in our household too. We eat pizza every Friday. I
Yes.
think a lot of Chicago families do that for some reason. $100,000 in donations. You've reached that milestone, that goal. What is it? I pull up and I have $10. I just give you $10 for my pizza, or are the pizzas already priced?
So it's suggested donation. You can kind of, except for this pizza, pay whatever you want. But the idea is I am beyond like my capacity. So what I do is I drop it on Instagram and people reserve through the link in my profile, and then they make the donation and I give them the secret pickup address. With this pizza, we were approaching that $100,000 mark. So like, we're getting very silly for like one person who will pay an exorbitant amount for a pizza. Maybe you have a Chiron, it's $3,300 and change, and like 33 cents, I think.
Okay.
And the idea is that brings us right to $100,000 raised for like great Chicago organizations since we started. And to market, we're not just making the pizza expensive. I'm getting some really great ingredients from some chef friends of mine. There's 60-day dry aged ribeye from Public and Quality Meats that I use my family's secret. It's not secret, Italian beef recipe on. There's a caviar that I make myself. There's a giardiniera that I make myself, like with the secret ingredient. I just spoiled it, caviar. There are these peppers, like the sweet peppers, with this amazing like mortgage payment, not really, but kind of feels like it, balsamic vinegar. So we put all that on a pizza, and what you have is like a very celebratory hot and dipped Italian beef pizza, little jar of jus, just like you need. Beef juice in Chicago parlance, and you get to like celebrate the fact that you have quite literally provided meals for over 25,000 Chicagoans who use my neighborhood food pantry. Like, we all see people, on the L or in a parking lot, or just kind of trying to sell candy in traffic. Like, imagine if you could take 25,000 people at that level of need and give them a meal. Sorry, I get a little bit about it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's something that you obviously feel very strongly about and passionate about. Let me ask you, who does this money help?
This
what organization?
This here is for the Friendship Center. This pizza, this milestone. They are a food pantry. I live near Ravenswood, Lincoln Square, and that's not really a neighborhood people peg as having a lot of need. But every time they're open, lines are down the block for services. They constantly have more demand than they can supply. And I think that's the story, all the way down from the south side up through Rogers Park. Like, we all have hungry people in our neighborhoods, and we support all kinds of organizations, but for this occasion, I wanted us to turn an eye on the people who need a good meal. We all got to eat, right?
Right. So talk to me about what this pizza is right in front of us.
So this is the Italian beef, the family Italian beef. When I was young, my mom and aunts, they used to go wedding to wedding, big Catholic family, making Italian beef and like cutting corners on the food costs so that they could, make the bar nice. So we've had this recipe in our family since before I was alive, and the funny part about that is we are not in the least Italian, but it is some tremendous giardiniera. Not caviar is not on this pizza, but this or sausage and giardiniera is the most of what I sell. Chicagoans love sausage. They love Italian beef. I gotta tell you, I don't sell a whole lot of pepperoni, which is not something a pizza guy will usually tell you.
I want to ask you, what were you doing before this? Is this now your full-time job?
No, I was in PR and marketing. I was a journalist before that. No, this is like an extra thing that my wife has to put up with.
Okay.
This is just on top of everything else. Work, pay the bills, keep the weeds out of the yard sometimes, and then like also just pizza all the time.
Are we to try this pizza?
Please,
You want
fresh
us to
out of
try
the
it?
oven.
Okay, we got to try it.
I'll
So
let
we'll-
Tia go first while I ask some more questions. But how many people is operating this business?
Oh, this is me.
Just you.
It is a lot, but I've gotten very quick at making pizza. I will say sometimes, cook friends of mine, chef friends of mine will come out and help, especially for bigger events, and we all have a great time and make a lot of pizza. Like shout out to Robert from Millie's Pizza in the Pan, in Westtown and in Berwyn.
And so when the spots are all full, all filled, how many spots are available? Can people donate online? What does that look like?
It's usually a couple dozen, and that's just kind of like, that's what you sign up for when you buy pizza from a guy in an alley and not a restaurant and have a certain kind of production peak. But the most Chicago thing I do is when all the slots are filled, the last slot goes to the person who will pay the most. So people DM me, and I have this running auction bid on my Instagram stories. And again, I don't take this money. The people are giving this right to the charity. They're getting the right off themselves. But I thought the most Chicago thing I could do would be let one last person buy their way in.
Nice.
This tastes like, listen, first of all, let me say this. This is one of the shows where we eat the most. And I'm like, okay, how am I supposed to keep my life together if I'm always eating? However, I can't help but to taste this. This tastes just like an Italian beef sandwich on pizza.
Thank you.
It is so, taste it. It is
It's
so
really good.
tender.
It's really good.
Telling you, Mom and the aunts, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, how long does it take you to crank out these pizzas?
Do
Do you have are you using a conventional oven? Like what are you using now to make this happen?
The nice thing about Chicago thin crust, tavern cut, tavern style, whatever you want to call it, is these were originally just made in bars that were really just kind of meant to shovel booze into people. So they had like home ovens. You at home can make this pizza pretty well. I put the recipe out, I wrote a couple books, I have articles. Search Crust Fund Italian beef pizza recipe, it's out there somewhere. But what you do is you put a big piece of steel in there and you bake it on there, and it acts like one of those old ovens at your favorite neighborhood pizza place. So 5 minutes, turn it, and then you're done 8 minutes to 10 minutes.
It's really, really good. It's spicy, but I love it. It's got a kick.
It's really good.
What is your end goal here? So you reached the $100,000 mark. You're going to do that. We know that. What happens next?
I think we'll try to add another zero to it, and if I have to be patient, it's not the worst thing in the world to be, is patient and full of pizza.
What happened, or what did you see in your lifetime that made you want to gear up in this way and help people? Because there's a lot of people that take on charities, charitable things. They don't necessarily do it with pizza. What made you say, I want to help people? What happened? What did you see?
Well, I don't know. If you remember summer 2020, it wasn't terribly pleasant for any of us.
Yeah.
But, it's just kind of, you look around and, A, there's just need everywhere, but B, things are specifically engineered online to make us kind of sad or mad or active.
Hateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought, so I had a little moment of a little dark night of the soul, and it's gosh, there's so many things that the city could use help with, and I have no background in that, and all I really know how to do really well is make pizza because I've been climbing the walls of my own house for almost 6 months now. It seemed like a cop-out. If I could only make pizza, then yes, let's make pizza, and then let's make sure the people doing tremendous work, everywhere in Chicago get the support they need. Chicago is a great, maybe the best city in the country for really dedicated nonprofits, really just kind of care for your neighbors.
Yeah.
So that's what I decided to do. We take it one organization at a time, and 6 figures later, I feel a little bit better about the world.
You got choked up earlier. What makes you so emotional about it? What is the emotional part of it for you?
I think it's just the fact that it's so, we live in a giant city with so many great things going on, and it can be a little easy to see how many people have need and how much need there is, and just kind of decide you have to flip that switch off because you can't deal with it all.
Right.
But if everyone dealt with a little more, I think it would be just a little bit better. And food to me is foundational, not only because this eventually comes out of my brain at some point over the last 5 years, but because everybody always needs to eat. Rich, poor, young, old, no matter what you do, you have to eat. And it can be easy to take for granted that a lot of people in our neighborhoods, they don't have enough to eat. So, that never goes away. We all have to eat for the rest of our lives. So let's try to make it as easy as possible for people. I think that sharing a meal with, other people is one of the best things you can do. One of the most acts, one of the most loving kind of acts of care for your neighbor, whether it's someone you're really close to or someone you're just sharing a good time with.
I could keep talking to you because I feel like I feel like it's genuine. You meet a lot of people that are doing things. Sometimes they're doing it really for the glory, right? To be seen or a pat on the back. But I feel like it's really coming from a genuine place with you.
Yeah, it's the glory of having a second fridge in my basement that's entirely full of cheese.
I was going to ask you that. Where do you store all this stuff?
I sound like my wife now. Just kind of wherever I can get room for it. It helps where if you, like, I've fallen deep into this enough where I think it counts as my hobby, so it goes where the golf clubs would go or a gaming rig would go. It just needs to be refrigerated.
Is this one of those things where you've had to invest your own money into it for it to take off in this way?
Someone has to buy cheese,
Right.
someone has to buy sauce. People I think give a lot because they know that the money's going exactly where I say it's going. So I'm very committed to keeping that transparency. Occasionally, I'll get, like a cheese company or a tomato company say, hey, would you like some product? And I'll always take it. Dan Raskin down at Manny's has hooked me up with literally hundreds of pounds of flour, which is great. But we all spend money on things we like to do, and I genuinely enjoy doing this. I don't really consider it a loss leader. I think it's just a fun way to do what I like, and it's great that other people are inspired to help.
My last question to you, because I think we have to let you go. Did you have a question, Justine?
You can go ahead,
I
Tia.
was going to ask you, what's the farthest that someone has come for one of your pizzas, to your knowledge?
Michigan at the moment, more than twice. California next month.
Oh, wow. And so they messaged you
Yes.
and said, hey, I'm coming to see you. I'll be in Chicago.
Yes, and good luck getting the drop, but I'm a big softie and we'll probably figure something out.
Okay.
So for people who want to donate or get a pizza, where can they find you on social media or online?
Sure. So social media, I do one. I do Instagram. I got time for one. It's at Nachos and Lager. And weirdly enough, some rando just squatted on the Crust Fund Pizza handle when this started getting big. And I'm like, hey, you can have it. There's also crustfundpizza.com where you can not only get the whole rundown of how it works and links to my recipes, but you can see month by month where every dollar raised has gone to since we started.
I love that. Transparency.
Yeah.
All right. I like everything that you're doing. I love your heart. It's amazing. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me
you.
on.